See them talk say, make we off mind. But thank God say, my ego don't come. So my people make you ladder. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego die the political. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. This one not day off in mind. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my yegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my yegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, my yegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, my yegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, my yegun don't come. Oh yo yo. Man of the mass.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Glory YouTube, Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
See quickly, I have two news for you. One is good. The other one is not good. I'll go with the bad news first. After last night's broadcasts, where I think we didn't do anything wrong, YouTube removed the video. Okay, they didn't give me any strike or any kind of punishment or anything. They just said somebody reported it for bullying, as they've always been doing. So they didn't give me a chance to get it back. But the video has already been kind of cut into 4 parts. And so many of you have seen the replay, have you not? Now I'm going to tell you the good news. Last night, the broadcast took a new turn when I announced during the program that Nigeria has happened to me. And this, like I said, took a very quick turn from what we were discussing to how the program ended. However, the good news here is that I have been contacted and I have been offered another land, okay? And that was because my land where I buried my mom was reported to have been taken. So, to start with, where my mom was buried, they have categorically agreed that it is a no-go area, that I shouldn't be alarmed. So that one is clear. Nobody is going to touch that based on the conversation we had today. So the other one, the new one I just bought, for the purpose of, merging them together for a particular project, that one has been taken, like they told me, we have taken it and nothing will happen. But that is not the next thing they said. They have offered me a different land. And for peace, I have accepted it. Okay? Which means I can tell all of us that somehow, I have recovered what was taken and would never be taken. I mean, it was a big thing, but I don't need to tell you the whole gist. That's the update, the good news. Share the broadcast. Remember, Supreme Court of Nigeria have changed their minds again. Despite the fact that they were put together haphazardly, hurriedly, for a particular purpose to clear Tinubu before the FBI record will hit the newsstand. But they made mistake. They corrected that within a few hours, and after listening and then, the browsing of the opening or hearing of the appeal, the Supreme Court of Nigeria panel said they were going to deliver their judgment on the 2nd of November. That has changed. But it changed mind. It has to be done this week. As we told you last week. So, the Supreme Court of Nigeria has now announced and notified everybody that they have reached their verdict. They have reached their conclusion. And the judgment is going to come in the next few hours. And if you're watching a replay, the judgment must have been delivered by then. So good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. And this is Mayegun Live. What you should do primarily when you join Mayegun's Diary Political is to not just read the caption of the broadcast. Take your time and read the description of the broadcast. The reason is because it is going to give you the idea of what this video is going to be all about. And by so doing, if you are a regular, you will not be lost watching 3 hours video talking about Nigeria. And having done that, right, you need to also share this, like the broadcasts. And you can then sit back, relax, and enjoy what I have for you or for us tonight. Initially, people said that Nigerians are just noisemakers, that they shouldn't have allowed this madness to last this long. That the moment they started announcing the fraudulent results, they should have hit the streets right away. Others of different opinions said, no. Remember the type of people you are dealing with. It is better not to participate than to participate and decided to go rogue on them. It is going to be a full setup. That Peter Obi had the audacity to lead the revoluting young Nigerians who believed that with their number, they could actually run the establishment out of town with their money. You, Peter Obi, was supposed to be one of us. How dare you? I mean, we thought this was a joke. It's like you actually mean it now, or you're taking it too far. And almost everything they try to flung at him, and they are obedient, and every one of them seems not just to stick. Okay? Well, I am going to save you the breath of how did you get here. So to these people of different opinion, they believe that, if people have decided to swoop on them, okay, it would have been easily held responsible, okay, for whatever happened after. And a lot of people might say, why are you not so interested in going through the court first? There is purpose of going, or let me say, the purpose of his supporters and many other Nigerians, why they have managed to kind of keep calm in cold and murmuring was because they wanted the entire establishment to embarrass themselves, disgrace themselves, and then destroy themselves. Okay? When there will be no other option on the table. These were the people of different opinions. On Mayegun's diary Politico, people have expressed their own different opinions too, their disappointments. I actually have those who said, after the judiciary legitimized the fraud, since there will be nowhere else to take it to, and this drug lord and his own goons are going to lord it over them for another 8 years, whether they like it or not, all hell will let broke or will broke loose. If the judiciary, the Supreme Court in Nigeria, ignore all the evidence that are already public, and they claim because of a technicality, these are people who said they were waiting. Oh, this is not me. Oh. Now, I don't know your own opinion, and it doesn't really matter anymore. I don't know your own excuse, and I also don't know your own level of finger pointing. But whatever the excuse was or were, in less than 12 hours, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, they are going to give judgments on 2023 presidential election. And because this is Mayegun's diary Politico, where I always do my best to ensure that the sickness called Stockholm Syndrome, I've been at the syndrome called the Stockholm Syndrome, will not have any lasting effect on anyone and everyone that comes across my video and my message. Even though the narrative out there, as much as majority of you consciously or unconsciously have managed to now begin to believe that the 2023 charade called election was all about Tinubu's certificate, was all about Tinubu's heroin trafficking and then forfeiture of money. Like I said, the whole conversation in the last 8 months, after the 25th of February 2023, general charade that you call general, excuse me, ikú tàwa iṣẹ́ ni ó tún dọ̀la, tó bá dọ̀la àtúkọ̀la, wọn ní pa òun mágógó lẹ́nu. Ẹ sọ fún wọn o. They might be trying to make you believe that 2023 elections, because the conversation that you're having most of the time all over the place right now is like the Tinubu forged certificate or a no forged certificate. The Tinubu forfeited money or he didn't forfeit money. Is Tinubu a career criminal? And all of those things like that, No, not just that. Of course, in Nigeria courts, the reason why criminals are those controlling Nigeria is because every time they commit any crime, now you, where they accuse them and then blowing the whistle, you will be the one that will have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that they committed that crime. And if you can't convince them that they did, well, the criminal will walk and can also become president. Do you understand that? And the way the media in Nigeria works, they also love sensationalism. They don't do any diligent conversation per se on real issue. The 2023 charade with a pictorial and then other video evidence, every evidence that pointed out that you did not have any election but charade, are there in those evidence and witnesses presented to your tribunal. But the tribunal did not open them. They did not check them because of technicality. Shetima. Why Shetima? Why Shetima's name was submitted as vice presidential candidate? The same Shetima was also senatorial candidate from Borno. The two applications were submitted to INEC until the time to make the change was over. There is evidence of that. Constitutional infraction. Tifnumbu submitted 2 fake certificates to INEC and sworn under oath that they were original. Second infraction. Then INEC, having what they call the Electoral Act to conduct an election. The Electoral Act says, anybody that is going to be president of Nigeria must have 25%, must at least have 25% of election held in 2/3 of Nigeria and Abuja. That is what their constitution says. And that constitution in that Electoral Act said, if nobody meets this criteria, there are steps. Now, let me explain that to you. Winning 25% or winning so-so states, they all have the constitutional sort of ingredient in them to let you understand. Nigeria have 36 states and FCT, Abuja, which would have make it 37 states. The crafters of the Constitution of Nigeria, from our own findings, they did that fraudulent book with the belief that there is never going to be any Igbo man or woman that will ever, on his own, become president of Nigeria without winning 25%. Winning 25% easily in Abuja. Now, this can be called conspiracy theory. Okay? And this is where, when Obi and his obedience came in, they dabaru everything. So you have to win 24 out of that 36 states. And Abuja, you not that win them all, at least 25% of the vote in those places. Okay? Now, when they have, usually in Nigeria, it is all usually 2-horse race. If it is not PDP, it will be APC. That kind of a two-way drive has therefore fragmented Nigerians into two sides of the same coin. So even if you are trying to escape from APC, when you get to PDP, you will meet your former APC leader there. If you try to leave PDP and go to APC, you realize that they have the same modus operandi to impoverish Nigerians, oppress them, and kill as many of them as possible, and then take whatever you can take during that time. The same policy. So any third force or the talk of third force was believed to be impossible in Nigeria, even though people talk about it, until disobedience came. So when the election was held, PDP, Atiku, won in 12 states. Tinubu was declared to have won in 12 states. Peter Obi was declared to have won in 11 states. And Abuja, listen to this. If truly they have any constitution, hang on. Then Kwakwanso won in 1 state. Asinati Gemuti Koti. So if you are a gambler, or maybe I shouldn't use gambler, what do you call those people that always forecast your betting game for you? So those who are giving political opinions on Nigeria. But in 2023, all of those political analysts, they were shocked. You see, punters, they call them punters. You see those punters, they would have predicted the winner, say, okay, PDP, APC, Atiku, and then Tinubu. Atiku is going to win 20 states. Tinubu is going to win 30 states. Keniko is going to win this or that. But when disobedience came into the whole thing, people were always regulars. They were laughing at them. A lot of you were laughing at them. So you may be watching me today. And that is why I continue to tell all of them that they did something that has changed the course of history. And no matter how much anyone tried to talk you down, anyone tried to gaslight you, or anybody try to finger or point you for anything that is wrong with Nigeria today, do not listen to them. Because majority of them are still yet to recover in what happened, from what happened. So, what happened? The Electoral Act said, if you must win, you must have 25% in social states, right? But now let's use that. And Abuja. Okay. So Tinubu was said to have gained 25% in about 26 states in Nigeria. Not that he won in 26 states, that even where he came second, he was still able to meet 25% there, which is constitutionally, he has already surpassed the 2/3 constitutional requirement that he must win 2/3 states. He must have 25% votes in 2/3 states. Right? But he didn't have Abuja. So Peter Obi that came into the game, for any punter, now Peter Obi come to cut the ticket. Tinubu would have just coasted home to a rigged victory, like the regular way of Nigeria. Let the highest rigger win. There has never been any election in Nigeria, let me be honest with you. It's about who can rig best. Until this obedience came, they just cut everybody's ticket. Atiku, they look for 25%. Atiku got about 25%, 25% votes. in more than 25 states as well, but no Abuja. That was where the criminals who call themselves lawyers, who are supposed to actually uphold your constitution, that was when they decided to jump into the fray, and decided to start redefining your law, redefining the fake law, which nobody actually wrote. You didn't write it. Nobody, except for the military boys that put the decree in place. But there is something in that law that could have prevented all of that. The Electoral Act says, and the Constitution, in fact, the Constitution, your Constitution says, in the absence of somebody, or in the absence of clear winner under this arrangement, you will now look for the top 2 or the top 3, okay? And you will conduct what is called a rerun. Now, let me give you that narrative proper. Let's say they were rigging for Tinubu as they did, as we all saw it, okay? I don't know what came over them that they missed Abuja. And maybe that too could have been the genesis that would have triggered the violence that they tried to avoid and believe that they could erase that through the courts. Because the people of Abuja actually rejected APC and PDP. They rejected them inside the Aso Rock. They rejected them inside the Apple Villa where the lawmakers were living. They rejected them in the eyebrow areas. They rejected them in the inner areas of FCT Abuja. PDP, APC, they rejected them. Tinubu got 18%. Atiku got about 11% in Abuja. The two of them managed, if they combine Atiku and Atiku and Tinubu vote in Abuja, it will give them 29%. That is for rigging. So what the Constitution says is that they will now conduct a rerun. Now, what the rerun will be like is not like the election, the normal one you first had. What the rerun will do is that there is no longer anything Abuja in the rerun. And there's nothing about 2/3 of a state in Nigeria in the rerun. It is now going to be whoever scored the highest votes, which could be done at least 2 weeks. It could be organized in 2 weeks without having to put Nigeria in this hell-dom. There is actually that constitutional lacuna, the provision there. But Yakubu, acting descriptive to let you know that Nigeria has been captured even before the election. Yakubu ignored that. And he went ahead and declared the winner. Even though in his own resort, and they have a legal team inside the INEC as well. They ignored all of that. So they dared the country, they dared the people. That, what's going to happen? Let's go to court. If you're not okay with it, go to court. So what they could have done was, Atiku, Obi, and Tinubu, they will roll out another. Those are the 3 people that will participate in the rerun. Now, the rerun will now be who scored. They will count all the votes of everywhere. This one is not going to be about, it's not just going to be about, Tinubu has won Kano. Tinubu has won Bauchi. Tinubu has won Lagos. It's not. Atiku has won. No. It's not going to be just that. It's going to be total vote. So that is what will give the clear winner. And then you can now declare the winner. Why didn't they do that? Despite the fact that the same Yakubu changed their own electoral act, the electoral law, that promised that they were going to publish the results of the election live. And they actually got 48 billion naira for that singular project, only for them to deny it, shut it down. Only the presidential election result shut down. So these are the constitutional infractions okay, that when they now said INEC should present the results that they announced, Tinubu scored 8.1 million. Atiku scored 6.9 million. 6.9 million. Obi scored 6.1 million. Okay, fine. Now, release the results. Let us see the number of how you arrive at that millions, okay? So that if we have any question, okay, we can begin to fight the election. The law says INEC should give them all of the materials used in 2023 elections. The Nigeria Tribunal had to issue 5 different orders to INEC that INEC should give the petitioners the evidence of the results they announced. Okay, is one, Abi? Great. It's called social vote. Fine. Give us the, you were announcing a result. Now you are calling a number. There must somewhere you got the number from, Abi. Give us that. They didn't. They delayed them. When they finally did, INEC handed over the result sheet that said Tinubu scored 8-point-something million. Atiku scored 6-point-something million. Obi scored 6-point-something million. And when they opened the entire results, out of 175,000 polling units in Nigeria, the results from every unit, 175,000, Baba, 44,000 of them were completely unreadable. Out of that 44,000 polling units, results, 18,088 polling units, they are just blank sheets. Blank paper. Nothing. You get what I mean? Nothing. So somebody handed over 18,088 blank paper as the result of election of 2023 that they announced. And when you now took that to the same tribunal, what did the tribunal say? What did the INEC say? INEC said, objection, my lord. Don't accept that exhibit from them. They were the one who gave it to them. They objected the presentation of it. Tinubu and his own APC, they said, objection, my lord. We objected the presentation of that document. We don't want you to accept it. All of you heard that too. I spoke about every detail of that tribunal, and I told you that was going to happen. It's going to be like a theater. It's going to be like a drama. You're going to sit down there and you're going to be asking yourself, what just happened? What just happened? And that's exactly what finally happened. The same tribunal that performed the theater for a few weeks, they came back and they said, Obi and Atiku, they presented no single evidence for them to nullify the election or remove Tinubu. That was what the tribunal said. They said no evidence was presented. Immediately, APC, Egbekegbe, and so many of those people that are now unraveling, the people that a lot of you thought they were actually real people, human beings. But today you are now seeing them as, they are like, they are worse than anything. They started saying, do you want the tribunal? Why are you gaslighting the judiciary? What is wrong with all of you? You are going on social media, attacking judiciary. You are bullying them. Do you want the judiciary to go and look for evidence for Obini? Abba, deberu Ọlọ́run. I beg, they fear God. Everything happened before our very eyes. Today, majority of them will boldly tell you on social media that you are just wasting your time. All this, your nonsense you are talking, why don't you bring them to the tribunal? They saw what happened. They expected that to happen. They will be surprised if their criminal leaders have lost guard, if they've lost their guard, because they believe that their criminal leaders have everywhere covered. They have everything covered. So if they have lost the election, they would have been so disappointed in them that, they have all the power. You remember they were actually fighting Bokwari, that Bokwari was trying to stop Tinubu from becoming president. You remember all of that? So they believe that everything should have been covered. So if they miss anything, they are still wondering what happened in Lagos till tomorrow. Like, how could that happen in Lagos? So they expected their leaders to be so corrupt enough and have the judiciary in their pockets so that they can begin to come back to you and say, why didn't you go to court? You should have go and present all this, your evidence in court now. You just say court, Nigerian court is social media. They know the truth. Okay? But they don't care. They don't. And that's exactly what is going to happen in the Supreme Court tomorrow. The Supreme Court, you see now, I'm like so kind of direct. Abi, the Supreme Court in Nigeria tomorrow, they are going to say, Obi and Atiku, they were relying on unreliable, unverifiable evidence from America to remove Tinubu, that they are not even talking about the 25% Abuja anymore. You know, they are already telling you that. Oh, you Obi DOT, you Obi this and that. You are no longer talking about 25% in Abuja because Nigeria Judiciary, the presidential parliament in Nigeria, boldly said they cannot cancel an election because of Abuja. There is nothing special about Abuja. They said that because that's a lot of people are already asking, what is so special about Abuja, Gonsev? Nothing is special about Abuja. You understand? But the specialty they put on them constitutionally is to ensure that the person that become president of Nigeria at least has the general acceptance of the general Nigerians. It's not like all Nigerians. No. You get that? That there is no rush. Because if you decided to use the highest scorer and the person who scored in so many states, where you know that they could rig it, if that person who could rig all over Nigeria, or let me say somebody who could win all over Nigeria, cannot win at this FCT, the seat of power, which should have his own mayor, by the way, but they don't have one. They just have Minister of Abuja. Anyway, so it simply means that the process is not conclusive. Okay? Now, in order for Abuja not to be anything special, you'd have to go to a rerun. It was clearly written in your constitution and electoral act. But because INEC ignored it, what the court is now saying is that Obi and Atiku, they are asking them to do the job of INEC, and they will not do the job of INEC. So if INEC says it's okay, it is okay. Do you understand? Or I'm still speaking Bala Bulu or Bulu Bala. Don't worry, you will get it. So tomorrow, since the media and some of these people have already, they have been making this whole Supreme Court thing about FBI file, about a Chicago State University. So the Supreme Court is already forming opinion on that. And if you may ask me, how did you get this? Abba, I did my analysis on that when it actually happened. When you enter court and you said, my Lord, all of our evidence presented at the tribunal, they didn't look at them, and we believe they are wrong. That's why we are appealing that judgment. We want you to look at everything that happened at the tribunal, the evidence we presented, the witnesses we presented, and also, we also have extra evidence that we also want you to take in and add to those evidence that the tribunal took out, and then help us review this case, my Lord. Meanwhile, when they appear first at the Supreme Court, the conversation is already around Chicago State University certificate. The lead counsel, the lead judge, Justice Okoro, Tibak Paro, Kolowun Jeminiya. You know what I said there? If I am actually lying, may God punish me. There is a documented evidence that the most corrupt, the most corrupted judge or should I say the most indicted and tainted judge or justice sitting on the bench of the Supreme Court of Nigeria today is no other person than this Justice Okoro. They said the medal is there, and I have seen all the evidence too.